Hello, Wisdom, and how are we? Hope everyone had a fantastic long weekend over Easter. It was good to have a bit of a break as well. That was nice, and sometimes we need a break to refresh, recharge, reset, and pursue our passions in life, as you know. Yeah, by the way, there's a federal election coming up next month in May. I think they scheduled it for the 21st of May. I will double check that for you. Federal election 2022. Yeah, Saturday the 21st of May. And it's quite interesting. We've got the Labor government, Anthony Albanese versus Scott Morrison. Albo, there's been a bit of controversy with Albo. Basically, he was at a press conference last week and he forgot one simple question: the unemployment rate in Australia. Now that, don't get me wrong, like we all make mistakes, but that's you got to know this stuff off like that. So that could cost him the election in some parts, you know. But at least he's honest with people, and at least he says, look, hey, I'm human, I make mistakes. Look, we all make mistakes. It's just, at a time like this, when you're campaigning to be the Prime Minister, little mistakes can cost you, that can cost you the election too. Just by that one little mistake that Albo did. Now, this is a good question. Is Albo suited to be the Prime Minister? Does he have what it takes to be a leader of this country in Australia? As I'm recording this show for you, all the way in Sydney, Australia as well. Does Albo have, that capability to lead a nation? You'll find, like the Labor government, I've noticed too, is very focused on LGBTQ, gender equality, transgender rights. I've noticed too. Now, so this is what Labor's pushing for the Australian people. But again, like I said, when you're campaigning for the election, you've got to understand that you've got to know these things. Boom, 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 like your times tables. You've got to know it because you're the leader of the nation. Now, I think ScoMo's done a fantastic job for the Australian people, but I think our government in Australia, the Liberals, they have been slow on certain issues like vaccine rollouts with COVID-19. They've been slow to, deliver. So that's a minus for the Liberal Party, in my view. We've got the independents like One Nation and the United Australia Party as well, who I clearly support. The independent parties, I think they have something to offer in Parliament. But a lot's been going on. Like I found when you know, what is proper journalism these days? You know, what is proper journalism in your view? Like, as I'm getting older now, I'm 28, I'm starting to have an interest in journalism. I never used to be interested in journalism before. But, for some reason, I am now. And, like, if you know, read the Sydney Morning Herald, you'll find, okay, they're supporting Anthony Albanese, and that's fine. I mean, Sydney Morning Herald's got some fantastic journalism. I mean, I read quite a few. I'll read the Daily Telegraph if I can. The Sydney Morning Herald, news.com.au. So I'm constantly switching around news media because I like to get multiple views on politics and all that. As you know, I have a passion for this business, and you know, every day is a new day in politics and campaigning as well. And I think basically that we've just got to keep going. We have just got to keep going in life. You know, we've just got to keep going and basically looking at how we can, you know, further improve the political system in Australia. But a lot's changed too, like, you know, you know that. And I feel that we can keep going despite all these campaigns. You know, I mean, there's a war in Ukraine now. And you got to think, well, is Vladimir Putin uh, a communist bastard? Is he? Is he trying to be a communist like Stalin? So I'm always wondering, well, what are these issues that our world leaders are going to solve in the future? I wonder what it is. You know that? Let's get a weather report for today. As you know, I'm always interested in the weather and how things come out. Alright. The weather for today is going to be a top of 27 degrees, a low of 13 degrees. Right now it's 16 degrees, sunny and partly cloudy predicted today. We have a precipitation of 2%, humidity 90%, wind 3 kilometers an hour. The weather right now 61 degrees Fahrenheit, precipitation 2%, humidity 90%, wind 2 miles per hour. Sunny and partly cloudy, a top of 81 degrees Fahrenheit and a low of 55 degrees Fahrenheit for today is how the weather's going to be. Now, but it's interesting because there's multiple views on the 2022 federal election campaign as well. And then you got to think, well, is my vote going to count? You know, will my vote count? Because whenever you vote, you want to make sure that vote counts for you. You know, and I think can be quite tough at times. You know that. Can be quite tough at times during this campaign. But all we got to do is just make sure whoever you vote for, you feel great to vote for it in Australian politics. You know that. So, how will this campaign go for the Australian people listening right now? Or if not, when they listen to this show, when it gets recorded on my podcast distributor. How is things going to turn out? For us all? You know that. So that's how I feel. It's very weird. Very weird indeed. Anyway, I tried out this app called Flash News, right? Where you can get like Fox News, or pretty much all the news channels in the world. And I'm trying it out, trying my 2 weeks free, get me free trial. And there's just so many fucking advertising on this thing, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? Is this what I'm getting? Advertising? Jesus Christ, I was pissed. You know. I was pissed. You know. I'd end up starting to watch it, and then the stream would just cut out. Like, it would just say I'd be getting an error, and I'm like, why? I don't know. Good idea to have streaming services for, news media services. But, you gotta think, well, if I'm paying $8 a month, why am I getting advertising? You know? That's what I think. Well, why am I paying $8 a month and I'm getting fucking, you know, an error message and it won't even work on my HDMI cable? Like, come on, that's a bit dodge. That's a bit dodge. So yeah, and going back to the election with what Albo wants to do, okay. I mean, a lot of this, politics can be a very complicated business at times. I've noticed as well. It can be very complicated. You know that. So I'm finding that, you know, how this election will play out is going to be an interesting one, interesting campaign. Will it be a tight election this year? Will it be a close election this year for the Australian people on May 21st, 2022? Will ScoMo start cracking down on his promises that he said he is working on? Because I'll tell you, everything's just been so slow in Australia. Like, vaccine rollout as well has been very slow. You know that. And I think, well, when you make up your mind to vote, you got to make up your mind to vote, and you make sure that vote counts. You got to make sure that vote counts, guys. You got to count that vote as well. Man, the last election before ScoMo was in, it was Tony Abbott. Now, we had a boat problem in Australia with the Labor government under Kevin Rudd and Julie Gillard. they were called boat people, and constantly we were getting illegal immigrants entering Australia illegally via boat. Now, Tony Abbott was in the, and Tony Abbott got elected, and he turned back the boats to Nauru. You know, sure, there's a lot of countries out there who can relate to illegal immigrants crossing the border illegally. We know in America, at the Mexican border, immigrants basically will cross the border illegally to live in America, and Joe Biden's providing free health care. Now, that's a bit unfair, honestly. You know, so it doesn't surprise me also too, Vladimir Putin is going to be a communist. Or a communist bastard, as I would say. You know, and then you got to think, well, why has it been years in the making for Russia to wanting to start to take back Ukraine? Okay, what's triggered off this invasion? You know, you got to think about that too. And why would it become like this? Why has it gotten to the point where you know we have an inflation problem? Of course, I'm sure anyone else can uh, relate to that as well, wherever you are. Inflation is a big problem here. I'm sure inflation's a very big problem across the world as well. So it's going to be a very interesting 2022 federal election on who can tackle what, who can do what they say. You know that. Who can solve issues as well. Who can deliver on their promises to the Australian people. And, you know, who can find, well, what is it going to benefit me if either the Liberals or the Labor wins a seat as a Prime Minister? I mean, these are questions that I'm always asking myself in life as well. You know that. I'm always finding out, you know, how this will play out for me. And definitely mental health. We've had a huge mental health crisis that needs to be addressed. I mean, there was a nurses' strike a few times at the hospital where, you know, nurses have actually had to provide their own PPE, personal protective equipment, in COVID-19 because the hospital is just running out of things like face masks, PPE gear as well. Hospitals, especially Campbelltown Hospital's been a disaster, and I'm not very happy with Campbelltown Hospital. It's a shit place. It's horrible, that place. Very, underfunded, short-staffed as well, and it's not fair. Just makes you, so I don't know what's going on with healthcare. Why has COVID-19 placed a lot of pressure on healthcare? I'm sure it's been like that around the world as well. What COVID-19's done to the healthcare system, put it under a lot of stress. A lot of stress. So each government is talking about very important issues that we need to solve since COVID hit. It's been a rough 2 years, It's been a very rough 2 years in Australia. But it's important that we speak up, we find our voice in this election as well. And, don't listen to one side of the media, because all media companies will influence you. They're all going to influence you on who you should vote for as well. You know that. So it's a pretty crazy time for everyone. People are thinking that, well, what's in it for me as well? You know that. That's what I've got to think. What's in it for me? How will this benefit my life in the future? For future success. We've had a lot of floods in Sydney. Up at Lismore as well, got flooded pretty bad. And people are just, I don't know why they're, angry at the Prime Minister of natural disasters. Now, why has natural disasters become, political? That's what I don't get. Why are they so political now over a natural disaster? There's been problems with the aged care facilities, my aged care, that need to be addressed and solved. There has been poverty in Australia, inflation, mortgage stress is what is hitting the Australian families very hard, living the Australian dream. It seems to me now, looking for a rental house, it's just so expensive. And why is it so expensive and such a hassle to have accommodation over your head? That's just not fair. Someone who works 38 hours a week, 40 hours a week, busts their asses off, pays their taxes, and is left with fuck all. Virtually almost broke. That's not fair. You work your ass off for that, and you pay your taxes, and you. By the time the rent's paid for, what do you got left? Fuck all. You know. And you got to think that has this war in Ukraine caused this inflation with petrol prices have gone up too? Is another problem we are having at the moment. You know that. So that's what it is. That is what it is. You know that. It seems to me like uh, whenever you get you take out a loan for a house, it's the person who's giving you a loan is going to get a commission out of you. Weird, isn't it? So that's what's going to happen, Someone else is getting rich off you. We have huge debt crisis as well. People are trying to live beyond their means. And then I start to think, well, why is that? Why is this happening for everyone? That's what I don't understand. And we've seen things like censorship now from basically we've had the cancel culture over Christmas that came out, and that definitely pissed me off too because I'm a content creator and I'm a believer in free speech too. So I wonder what's next. You know that? What's next for us? You know that? Hmm. What is next? You can find me on. I'm using a new platform called Mastodon at the moment. It's pretty much like a Twitter alternative without censorship. Basically, you know, I think companies like Facebook and all that are very, left wing focused and very you know, it, and I've said this before. It seems like if you don't agree with what their focus is on the media, they shut you down. You know that. They shut you down. You know that. It's actually not fair, to be honest. Because I, you know, you look at things like Elon Musk, okay, purchasing, he's basically purchased Twitter. You know that. It's quite interesting because Elon Musk buying out Twitter, I think that's a good thing. If he's allowing conservatives like myself, who are on the right, have our freedom of speech, because I just get to the point of tech corporations just discriminating. I've been discriminated against. I've been put down by these huge tech companies. Okay. End of the day, it's like, well, who's popular and who's not? You know, the Labor government was always based on popularity. Always, ever since Kevin Rudd was popular. Kevin Rudd, oh, I liked Kevin Rudd. I liked Julie Gillard. Um, the thing is, when you have charisma in this business of politics, it gets you a long way. It's always been like that. The Labor government was always the most popular over the Liberals. I'm talking from Australia, by the way. The Liberals are on the right, the Labor's on the left. Uh, but even when John Howard was running, he won quite a few elections. He used to be the treasurer. You know that. So this is going to be an interesting rollout for Australia as well. And you know how we can have our say in who to vote for. And what to do. Because that's what it's just come down to, censorship as well. I've seen with these tech companies too. Is censorship. You know that. And so, I mean, there's a lot of corruption up in that, yeah, up in politics, state politics as well. But we'll see. We shall see who wins this. You know, you got Donald Trump now who's rallying again for president. Oh, God! Why is he holding a rally? It's not even time to campaign. Ugh, oh my god. That's what I think. Ugh, you know, Jesus Christ, I just think, what the hell? What the hell? Yeah, but I'd like to say thank you to all my listeners who just stopped by today on Wisdom. I thought I'd cover what's going on in Australia at the moment. I know for the US it's Easter Sunday. Oh no, sorry, Easter Monday, because you are a day behind me at the moment. And I hope everyone had a fantastic Easter long weekend. You know, it's good to have a bit of a break and unplug. And, you know, think about, okay, you know, just have a break and reset and recharge ourselves is what's good for us as content creators. You know, finding your niche and your style as well is what's good. You know that. But yeah, guys, don't forget you can follow me on Webtalk. I'm on Mastodon as well. You can follow me on Wisdom. Give me a follow as well. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Stephen Shields radio show, and turn on your notifications so you never miss an episode every Friday at 6 p.m. Sydney, Australia time as well. And also too, I've got music on Spotify, Bandcamp as well, and the streaming services. Pretty much you just type my name in. I'll leave the links in the podcast description as well. Yeah, don't forget to subscribe to my channel on Rumble. I'm on Rumble now. Basically, Rumble has been great for me. You can sync your YouTube channel with Rumble. And, you know, pretty much you monetize straight away. Alright, all the way in Sydney, Australia. To my US audience, Europe, good afternoon and a good evening to you. And bye for now.